Hey everybody, this is Sheets, and we're going to be doing our lineup construction video for tomorrow's slate, which has really gotten decimated. It's become a 10 fight slate, which makes playing this lottery tournament extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult to be unique in a 10 fight slate. Um, so we could either not play, or we could just accept the fact that we're going to be making high dupe lineups, or we can try to win the whole cheese. So we are going to try to win the whole cheese. It's going to be very unlikely that we do, but we're going to give it a shot. So what I'm doing now is I am uploading my projections here to replace the SaberSim ones. And the first thing that we're going to do is instruct SaberSim to create a contest field based on our custom ownerships. Now, I don't know if we're actually going to use it, but as long as we're uploading the projections anyway, we may as well do that. For those watching this for the first time, we're not really focusing too much on plays themselves as just the pure lineup construction and the techniques and the tools used to do that. It's not very difficult to identify who the good plays are ever, honestly. But this week now with only 10 fights, it's, main event's going to be good. You want to go over some of them? All right, let's go over some. Chepe Mariscal's credible play. The heavyweight fight, it's a good fight. Danny Barlow, he's got upside. Probably you're going to want to fade the Gomes fight. I mean, that's probably least likely. That one and the women's fight, Andrea Lee and JJ Aldridge. Maybe this Charles Johnson fight isn't so great. And everything else is kind of in play. I mean, quite honestly, on a 10 fight card, I would say all 20 fighters are going to be in play. The one major decision that you can make here is whether you want to allow opposing fighters in each to be in your lineups. I mean, it's almost never a good idea in GPPs to do that, but when you're getting into the 10 fight slates, I think it's certainly worth attempting. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the rule, don't use opposing fighters, that automatically defaults. I don't think I'm going to get anything anyway, but just to allow SaberSim to try to, to factor that in is definitely something different. The other thing I am going to do is I'm going to eyeball my projections just to make sure that they're at least close to reality. Yeah, I mean, I have no issues with any of these. I actually like what I did with a couple of these tweaks here. So we uploaded these, and you'll see that we saved these field lineups. Oh, this one is for a video I did the other day, so let's get rid of the Sheets test one. But we'll keep Sheets 444 in case we want to use that as our fields. Now, we already put our contests in, our lineups, so it's already saved the data on these contests. So if we want to use the flagship MME for this contest for the throwdown, then we can opt for that also. I think that we are going to use that one just because I don't know. In the last couple of weeks, I've hit some really big scores just relying on the SaberSim contest fields. Whenever I try to replace them with my own, it just hasn't had a lot of luck. So I think we are going to stick with the SaberSim ones, but just for the hell of it, I guess we should probably whatchamacallit. I guess we should probably try both. I don't know. We'll see. So let's see what we did here. So did we upload the projections? We uploaded these projections. Wait, it should be here, right? Yeah, so these are the correct ones. So let's build 5,000 lineups. And then we're going to take a look and see, I don't know, see what we want to do. I mean, do we want to go with straight sims? Do we want to use MMA default? Let's see what's up here. Um, what I think I want to do is I do want to go straight to the spreadsheet, so to speak. So before I even get into it, let's run the sims here. So at least we'll be able to, to see what's going on. We're not going to do any minimum salary or maximum salary. We are going to let the sims and Saber Sims straight define these lineups for us, but we're going to screw around with some of the metrics, and I'll show you what I mean by that. All right. So we built 5,000 lineups, we ran the sims and all this stuff. And if we wanted to, we could just put these bad boys in kind of as is, and it would look, something like this as far as the exposure goes. And there's certainly nothing wrong with any of this. But I have a feeling that if we did that, you're going to get like a whole bunch of dupes. But what we could do is we could actually check and test that. So let's first go to the pool. So instead of my lineups, we'll go to the whole pool of 5,000 that we built. And we're going to download these. And then we're going to take a look at how these things rank. So if we didn't even want to do the sims, what we could do is do these Saber Sim, lineup ranking systems. So either, for example, MMA default, Sim Diversity 10. Now, to remind everybody what those are, okay, MMA default, we'll remind ourselves of what that formula is. MMA default, it does prioritize the 99th percentile outcome of the lineups, which is this function right here. And it does ding it for being too owned. So this is actually pretty aggressive, as opposed to, say, the Sim Diversity 10 setting, which is much less aggressive. This one, if you look at the eyeball, it's just the sim optimals. It doesn't really say anything about the 99th percentile outcome. So this is going to end up being a lot more conservative. And again, you could build your own metrics. Like I created my Sheets default metric, where you use the 99th percentile outcomes, and you also ding it even more for high ownership. So all of these are reflected in these spreadsheets here. So what I'd like to do is go to the lottery, and the first thing I want to do, let's find it. That's right over here. Yeah. Not the knockout, the throwdown. So let's sort these by ROI. Okay, we're right here. And the first thing I want to look at is how many dupes these lineups are being projected for by SaberSim. Okay, so you'll see it's really not projecting that many dupes, which is almost amazing. It's almost impossible to believe in a 10 fight card. So what I like to do first is see what their overall dupe rankings are. So when we sort just by this from large to smallest, you do see that it is projecting high dupes for some lineups. And what's good about this is it shows that the high ROI lineups are already factoring in the possibility of being duped. So these lineups with good ROIs are rated to be good sim dupes. So what I'm probably inclined to do this week is start by playing these lineups in exactly this way. But there's one theme, there's one thing that we have to do, is I have to run these through the Pater portfolio manager, because the Pater portfolio manager does a really good job of probably better, I think as far as I can tell, at projecting dupes, even better than SaberSim. So what we do is we use these two things together. We'll sort by ROI from SaberSim, and then we'll screen those in the in the portfolio manager. So you see, like, if we take like the top 500 lineups, for example, so you don't want anything that's going to be so highly duped. So let's automatically, I guess, take out anything with more than 10 dupes. So let's start with that. So let's anything with more than 10 dupes. I would do 5 in a smaller card, but not a bigger card, but and then let's again sort by ROI. Excuse me. So then what we're going to want to do is I want to then take like the top 500 lineups of these, um, and then I want to run these through the Paydor portfolio manager and see which of these lineups actually is projecting for low dupes. So let's take the top 500. Actually, what we're going to do is this. Let's delete all this. And take these 500 lineups as so. Let's get rid of all this. Okay. And so these are the lineups we're going to test in the Paydor portfolio manager. Okay. So what we do is, well, let's first find our Paydor portfolio manager. It should be somewhere. Okay. So he is over here. So what we're going to do is first, we're going to upload, our projection file. So we've already put in our, I'll show you, our salary, median, and ownership for all the fighters. We're going to put that up in here. And then what we're going to do is we are going to upload these 500 lineups. Remember, these are the 500 top ROI lineups. And we're just going to have Paydor scan for dupes or predict dupes here. Just going to make sure that we're doing okay. So let's hit a portfolio manager. Manage portfolio. And then what we want to do is we want to select a sport, MMA. And then it's going to contest size and select field strength. We'll put sharp. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we are going to download the portfolio. And what it has done now, it has given little, it's given additional metrics. In addition to that, look at all these dupes. So these were the lineups that SaberSim were going to project to have less than 10 dupes. And Paydor is identifying some of these with an extraordinary amount of dupes. So what we could do, well, let's first get rid of these, again, these duplicated columns here. It's just showing the same lineup twice in a row for some reason. And then what we can do is we'll take these and let's sort these 500 by dupes. And we just want to take out, once again, anything with over 10 dupes. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of these 125, right? So now we're sort of in business. So what we could do with this group now, we have the top 500. We sorted by dupes, and now we could sort here within the portfolio manager by either by win percentage or even by lineup edge. So let's sort actually by win percentage. Okay, and so now we're in pretty good shape. So now we're going to take these top 150, and these 150 have been, what have they done? Okay, so we started with what we think were good projections and good ownerships. We put them in SaberSim. We built 5,000 lineups, right? Then we sim them against the SaberSim contest fields, and we started with, and then we sorted by the top 500 ROIs against that. Then what we did is made sure that we weren't duping more than 10 times within SaberSim. And then we tested those against the portfolio manager, Pater, which is much less forgiving as far as dupes go. And now we have, the resulting lineups that are sorted by, that are refiltered by less than 10 dupes. So you now have, what do we have? 376 lineups to choose from. So what you could do, as I said, is sort by win percentage and then just take the top 150 and then you're in good shape. Obviously good shape. I mean, you're not necessarily going to win, but you've at least done a good job at blending what I consider would be good plays and good lineups with some degree of, I don't know, of dupe medication. I guess that's the best time, or ownership teaming. Now I'm curious, like how many of these lineups are getting fighters from the same fight. Unfortunately, I can't screen for that. So the only thing I want to consider is this is what I want to do if I really want to do win percentage. I'm not as familiar with this lineup edge score for win percentage. I know, so let's do that. Let's just take the top 150 of these. And we can just go into DraftKings. Now I'm curious to see how good SaberSim is going to be. Excuse me, the combination of SaberSim and Pater it's going to be with respect to predicting the dupes. Now again, their prediction of the dupes is based on my ownership projections, right? And my point projections and whatever. So it's only reacting to what I put in, and if my ownership projections are way off, then obviously it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's just not. We can't get mad at it for mispredicting the dupes if we were wrong as far as the ownership projections. When you test it, you have to test it against the actual ownerships. So okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that we take care of the big buy-ins, right? Now you see, I play like a bunch of big buy-ins. I play at these. Really wanted to win a seat into the whatever called the live final. So I played like a bunch in the 33, 120s, and I played as usual the 555 and the 200s. I think for these, I'm just going to play the top simmed lineups from those. And the way I do that is I'm just going to use the regular SaberSim method, which we're going to get to. So let's save this first, okay? And let's put these into DraftKings. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to go back to SaberSim. And then I want to consider just rerunning the sims for those contests and just kind of reloading those. So I'll show you what I mean. So remember, we sim this against all these contests, but then we disappeared from this and went to that spreadsheet. Now I want to go back here and put those lineups where they're supposed to be. So we'll go back to contest sims and sort by each target contest ROI. And then what we do is we'll fill those in just the big buy-ins, right? We're already good with the throwdown, but we'll just put those in the big buy-ins. So let's save all those to the contests. And ostensibly what it's doing is then it's putting the best lineups for the best contests in there. Okay. I don't know why player's out in my lineups. Oh, you want to know why? Because I never re-uploaded the new files to here. let's do this. Let's download the entry file. Just the again, just for the wait, what did I just do? I just wanted to save it to this. I did, right? So I saved it to these contests, right? We'll download those, and then we'll upload those to DraftKings. And then I want to test something. Okay. So what I've done is I've kept the lottery lineups that I created using that kind of spreadsheet technique. Well, using the technique with the spreadsheet, and I added the straight lineups um from the Sims for the big buy-ins. Now, what I want to do first, I want to see if there's any dupes. So I imagine not. I imagine there's no way I have lineups in two things. Now, what's annoying here is I still have these lineups, so I don't know if I did it right with the whatchamacallit, replacing them correctly. So let's go back. We'll go back to where we were. Okay. And these were the lineups, right? Were these the lineups that we were going to play? Is that what we decided? No, where was that spreadsheet with the portfolio manager portfolio? This one. Yeah, so these are the lineups that I want to play. Let's just make sure that we're doing this right. Put those back in here. And for now, what I'll do is let's duplicate these, I guess, in here, just so that I can test this. Now, if we still have fighters that are out, then we did something wrong with the portfolio manager, I think. Let's see. Okay, so we did it right. Okay, so now we have the lineups that we want. So now we'll go back and we will save again just to the right, these here. So what we're gonna do is let's upload the new lineup file to here. That's what we forgot to do. So let's upload, download these from DraftKings, upload them here. Now it knows what I have, so I'm not going to get any of these bad. Yeah, so I'm not going to get any of those lineups with the uh with the out players. So now again we've simmed them against these big buy-ins. Let's just make sure that yep, just into these. With any luck, it's going to say save 19 lineups. Let's see. Save 19 lineups to 5 contests. Now we'll download this. They've not all been filled because I did the 150 elsewhere. And then we'll upload these, and then we will be good to go. Okay. Now we're going to test this in a second, but let's just make sure there's no, I don't think there's going to be any dupes. Wow, actually there are two lineups that appear in both the lottery and one of the big buy-ins. Okay, which is fine. But this is what I want to do. So let's edit this entry file. Well, I want to download this one. Download this. I just want to retest this against the Paydirt portfolio manager for dupes. Let's just see. Now, if I'm right, Well, this is what I'm going to have to redo. So this is unfortunately an issue with I have to say Hater. It's not going to recognize this new convention with the projections I put in. So what I have to do, it's pretty funny. You have to change these player names to the actual names. But I can do that pretty quickly. Where is that sheet? Um, where are you? Okay. So we will, instead of using the player ID numbers, we'll actually put their names in. That would be here, right? So we'll put these here. Boom. We're going to resave these as projection template. We're going to resave these. These are my actual DK lineups. And then what we're going to do is we're going to re-upload all that to the pay dirt thing. I'll remind ourselves what that is. Pay dirt portfolio manager. So let's upload projection file, which we just did. Okay. And then we will now upload the lineups that we're proposing to play here. Manage portfolio, same as before. And then we'll do MMA and then sharp and then manage portfolio. Good. And now we're going to download the portfolio again. So this is the actual thing that we're trying that we're considering doing. And what's neat, okay, you see like these dupes, okay. I'll show you the column over here. See column P, you see there's a bunch of lineups here that like have more than 10 dupes. And when I sort here, you see, oh my God, what are these lineups doing in here? Well, for those of you, I mean, I should say stop the video and you tell me why that is. The reason why that is that these are the lineups that are not in the lottery, right? These lineups would be duped this many times in the lottery, but for the lottery, for the non-lottery, we went straight from SaberSim, right? We didn't use the spreadsheet to do that. The only ones we kind of artificially did was the lottery, and those are the ones that are 10 and below. Okay, as far as dupes go. These are pure fine. I mean, I don't mind having lottery high dupe lineups in the big buy-ins. So this is all looking good. Okay. Now the only thing that we haven't talked about is like who I have. Right? Like what percentage I have of these fighters. And fact of the matter is, and again, this could be controversial, or whatever. I never look. Okay, I don't care in the lottery. If you do that, if you challenge the outputs, you know, then you're challenging your process, right? If you trust your inputs and trust your process, then you should really care what the outputs are. So I never check. I find it fun, to wait until lock and then I find out who I have. But what I will say, I do want to give a couple of specific ideas for the slate. Like if you didn't want to play it the way I just did, like if you want to hand build or you want to just put your own takes on things, what you really want to look for, especially on a slate like this, is what fighters look really good and whether their opponent could possibly win. You know what I mean? Like you want to try to get leverage wherever you can, and it's hard in a 10 fight slate. But you have to be, somewhat of a visionary. Like the top play on the slate, I think, is probably Chepe Mariscal, right? He's got takedown upside, big inside the distance line, whatever it is. So because of that, maybe some Ramos leverage is not the worst idea in the world, for example. especially on a card like this. Um, See, like you're not going to get any real leverage out of this main event. I mean, you're just not. They're both going to be highly owned. Um, so it's not like one's going to be low owned against a high owned guy. Um, so you should probably take your shots again with guys like Sam Patterson. I talked about this in the earlier video. Sam Patterson. I didn't really talk about Ramos because I didn't think we would need to even get to him. But you need to get to all these punts against these top plays to get somewhat unique. Now, as far as leaving salary, yeah, you can do that too. But the problem is that I don't know exactly how much salary to leave. So unless I can quantify it in some way, I feel like I'm just guessing. So that's I'm not I'm kind of out of the leaving salary on purpose game. It's good enough what I've done. I mean, if you looked at any of the lineups I was building, and you're getting lineups that are that don't use too much salary anyway. So I don't think you need to do it artificially. Um, and there are other things you could do, which I've talked about. Like if you like Brundage, for example, but you're afraid he'll be too high owned, you could play him and then leave enough money on the table where the optimizers would get up to Marquez. So what's Marquez 8,500? So if you play Brundage and leave 800 on the table in those lineups, that's one thing you could do. But remember what you're risking there. If you do that, that's $800 that maybe you could have gotten from instead of JJ Aldrich, you could have gotten up to Jeppe Mariscal, for example. So it's not so simple. But that's probably it. And I have to say that I was doing this video for one of the companies that just did a deal with SaberSim, trying to show them like some different things. And one of the guys rightly said that they're not sure that their subscriber base is ready to hear my process because it's pretty complicated. And it's true, and it's weird because my process is so freaking streamlined and simple for every other freaking sport. Every other sport, I'm on a total freaking autopilot. And it takes me like 30 seconds to build my lineups every night. But MMA, for whatever reason, I've just gotten so far into the weeds with these different metrics that this is what I do. I don't know, probably wrong, but this is I think it's pretty thought provoking to be able to play with the numbers in these types of ways. So that's what I've been doing, for better or for worse. Okay, that's all I have. Any comments? Feel free to leave them in the comment section, and hope this helped.